Hey, what is up? It is Rob from Crypto Bobby, and today I want to talk about Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash and some of the crazy politics that are going on kind of behind the scenes or really in the public eye right now, how to maybe decipher what's going on there, figure out maybe what side you're on, if you're on a side or anything in that regards. Additionally, want to talk about Ripple having a big move, and then also want to talk about some of these ICOs. And this was actually the kind of how I'm going to start this conversation off, really kicked off with logging out to CoinMarketCap today and looking at the screen essentially. And you can see over here on the right hand side this cute little Google AdSense advertisement or actually advertisement by CoinTraffic, which is basically, I guess, Google AdSense for cryptocurrency powered by CoinMarketCap. And here is Paragon, which is one of the, I haven't really gone into too much detail on it, but it's from the game and the game, the rapper, and it is from it's from this model Jessica Vandersteen or whatever the hell her name is. But ultimately, it is their ICO, and basically all they've said is, hey, it's blockchain and weed. But, maybe sounds exciting if you like weed, if you like smoking, good for you. But I really don't think you can just throw blockchain on any industry in anything in the world and just be like, hey, I'm a celebrity and blockchain plus weed, millions of dollars. Sad thing is, because they're advertising this crap, people are going to pay money for it. It's the same stuff with stocks and paying Floyd Mayweather to write an Instagram post that has that for his millions and millions of followers, and stocks basically sold out of their ICO. I'm sure Paragon's going to do all right, but if you, number one, have to advertise your ICO on CoinMarketCap or on whatever, Google AdSense, on Facebook, I get pounded with Facebook advertisements for ICOs now, and if you have to offer a 25% discount as a special pre-sale, that's sketchy to me, and that combined with throwing two celebrities into the mix, stay away from this kind of crap. This literally caught my eye. I was going to make this video, and if you're listening on the podcast, basically it's this scrolling 300 by 300 advertisement of the game and a model and talking about this ICO and blockchain and weed, and we are proudly presenting this wonderful ICO and ICOs. You know what? I was going to make a video just on Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and on Ripple today, and I saw this when I turned on CoinMarketCap, and I was like, you know what, I have to mention this because this is ridiculous. And if a company has to pay to get people to invest in the ICO, and it's not just on the technology, and also if you're like this, it's almost like a joke how many ICOs are coming out now that are just total trash. And I'm sure I could probably invest in this right now with a 25% discount. I could probably make money because people are gonna buy it, but in 3 years, I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say Paragon's not gonna be in business, but in 3 years, if Paragon has a legitimate technical product that is working in the marijuana and blockchain space, I'd be freaking surprised. So don't fall into the hype and don't go, just this whole ICO trend is so nuts that a celebrity and whoever can slap their name on it. So whatever. Off on the aside, as far as let's get this out of my freaking vision because I don't want to see it anymore. But today I want to talk just a little bit about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and I've been doing some research on it as far as some of the politics go behind things, and it's really honestly it's confusing as hell. It's like a political game, and there's huge dollars at stake. There's a lot of money at stake for these people that are backing either Bitcoin or they're backing Bitcoin Cash, and everybody seems to have their own incentives. Everybody is incented one way or another, and there's people that are outright like Bitcoin Cash fans. There's people that are like Bitcoin Cash can go to hell, and it's a shit coin, it's an altcoin, and it's going to be worth zero, whatever. So within the past week or so, really within the past couple of days, Bitcoin Cash has gone from that $300 mark it was sitting at to all the way up to $800-900, and now sitting at $660. So it's worth taking a look at just understanding, a lot of the politics behind it. And it's funny because if you go onto something like Twitter, I've started following a bunch of people in the cryptocurrency space whether they're pro Bitcoin, whether they're pro Bitcoin Cash. I just want to understand what the heck is going on with a lot of these situations. And one of the guys that either people love or they absolutely hate is Roger Ver. And he had a couple different things. So one, he put out this 26-minute video that I watched that essentially talks about the economic code behind Bitcoin and how because of the increased size of the blocks or the increased utilization of the blocks in the Bitcoin network and how it's limited to 1 megabit or 1 MB, that it's jacked up the fees of Bitcoin, and where there typically were very minimal fees. Now you need to pay a huge amount of fees to have any type of transaction on the Bitcoin network. Transactions are really slow. The network's going to shit, and because of that, things like Bitcoin has lost all its prominence, or a lot of prominence, and a lot of its 80% of the overall cryptocurrency market cap to coins like Ethereum, which is really the big one. Bitcoin has lost a lot of market capitalization or percentage of market capitalization to something like Ethereum, even Ripple, and now Bitcoin Cash. But he has this whole argument, and then he just rips into these people into shreds, or his arguments being ripping these people. And it's interesting because some of the stuff he'll be like, hey, this person is so and so smart, and I'm sure they're intelligent, but they're completely wrong. Or, I'm sure they're a good programmer, but they're an idiot, and they don't know anything about economics. So he made a 26-minute video that at least, if you're interested in Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash, I would go to his Twitter and I would take a look at this. It's also on YouTube, or it's on YouTube if you just search Roger Ver. I'll link to it, actually, if you want to take a look. So wherever my finger is right now, I'll put up a link to that video if you want to see Roger Ver's economic code on Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And then today he posted something while I was at work today in regards to basically calling out Blockstream and the Bitcoin Core organization, saying that they have no understanding of money, they have no understanding of economics, and that technical knowledge is not going to get it done. So Roger Ver is basically attacking the Bitcoin Core, the regular Bitcoin, or the original Bitcoin, however you want to say it, and has been ripping these guys into shreds. And Blockstream is another one that has a organization that has a good number of people that are kind of involved within the core Bitcoin development. And they also do some other projects kind of on the side, including launching a rocket into space that was supposed to have a Bitcoin node, I believe. But it's really interesting to kind of learn the different psychology behind it and the different motivations that a lot of people have. And obviously, when you look at the cryptocurrency markets in general, right now Bitcoin is at a close to an all-time high. I mean, it's above $4,000 and has $67 billion in market cap. And then there's people like Roger Ver, and there's a couple other people, mostly in the mining world, that are really pro Bitcoin Cash and are kind of doing whatever they can, it seems like, to derail the value of Bitcoin and move Bitcoin Cash into the place of where Bitcoin is now. So on the other side of the house, there's different kind of components that are basically battling Bitcoin Cash and the arguments that Bitcoin Cash has in regards to SegWit 2x, as well as in regards to Lightning, that are supposed to speed up the transactions or speed up the transaction capabilities, as well as make it a bit cheaper to transact on the Bitcoin network. So it'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin Core can implement those technologies, and if that can alleviate some of the issues there. But for me, it's I'm kind of honestly, it almost turns me off to the Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash kind of just turns me off in general to Bitcoin, because I almost get stressed out trying to think all right, which one's the real Bitcoin? Should I own more than one? Should I own both? What should I do there? And I mean, if you owned Bitcoin beforehand, you own Bitcoin Cash now. So it's not the worst thing in the world. And maybe you just hold both, or maybe you try, if you're really anti one or if you're anti the other, you sell and go all in. But I'm still trying to understand what which cryptocurrency in a lot of respects is going to be the long-term one. And for me, it seems like Bitcoin is still, it's the original. It has the most backing behind it, and there's new technical advancements that are happening. And Bitcoin Cash has some powerful people supporting it, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. It could keep it afloat for right now, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. So I'm excited and I'm interested to see how things move forward. If you have thoughts or if you have comments on basically Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash and which one is the one that you are most confident in and you think is long term the better coin, I would love to hear it in the comments, because that would be interesting to me and it would help me get a gauge of things. But I'm continuing to do research, as I think you should be doing as well. If you're interested in this space, if you're investing in this space, I think you should be doing your research. I think you should try to understand who is controlling what, why are they controlling it, what motives do people have, and how are people driven? Because this is, in a lot of cases, it seems like it's a people-driven market. There are different people, there are different companies that have these huge controlling stakes, and they stand to gain a ton of money, or they stand to lose a ton of money if either Bitcoin Cash succeeds, or if Bitcoin Core fails, or whatever it might be. So it's interesting to really understand what's going on there, to get a good feel for what's happening in the marketplace and maybe where things will go in the future. Right now, I don't have any money in, for full transparency, I don't have any money in Bitcoin Cash. I made an initial trade the day it came out into the market on Bittrex and actually made a good amount of money on a trade, buying at like 400, selling at 6 something. But outside of that, I haven't had any money in Bitcoin Cash, and I'm pretty light in Bitcoin now as well. More in on Ethereum, just because honestly, some of the politics have turned me off to it, and I think Ethereum has some room to pop, being that it's been sitting at 300 and it's well below the all-time highs. But outside of that, speaking about another coin that was at all-time highs a few months ago and has dropped pretty precipitously, had a nice drop, was at all-time highs, is Ripple. And we can take a look here at, let's even pull up the all-time high, but Ripple, I believe, at an all-time high was about 33 cents, and right now is up 42% on the day, but it's still well below its all-time high. So you might be thinking, hey, is now a time to get in? Where might we be in the near future here? And as this market data loads from CoinMarketCap, if that ever happens, my hotel internet couldn't be slower. All right, perfect. So here we go. So we're looking at back in April, we had really the peak of Ripple was May, and that was about 34, 35, 36 cents or so, mid to high 30s. And Ripple had since May really just had a drop off all the way down to about 15 cents, and then today really skyrocketed back up to 25 cents. It's up 40 something, 40 plus percent on the day, and a lot of that price action, from what I'm seeing, has been driven by Korea. Bithumb is kind of the big place where a lot of the volume is coming into. A lot of the volume, 45% of the volume is on Bithumb, and three other Korean trading pairs are the top. The top Ripple, the top Ripple volume within the past 24 hours. Outside of that, you just have Poloniex and Bittrex from a Bitcoin or Bitcoin trading pairs, and that's about 15% of overall volume. The majority of this volume looks like it's driven from Korea. So I'm not sure if there was specific kind of news that came out of Korea, if it just really popped off, but there was $1 billion in, you could see here, Bithumb had $700+ million in volume, and then Coin One had 250 plus, 250 plus of volume trading against the Korean pair. So pretty interesting to see how that can go. And that's also one thing too, and we've talked about it. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but Korea, China, Japan, these countries can drive an incredible amount of volume and can drive an incredible amount of the price action. And it's tough because did anybody predict this yesterday? Was I sitting here saying, Ripple's going to go up 40%? No, because I'd have every dollar I had into Ripple, but I didn't do that. I don't have anything in Ripple. And it's just interesting to see how Asia can really drive price action like incredibly hard. So that's one thing to look out. And I think that's even been something, and I talked about it on the live stream yesterday, as far as Neo, and 90%, probably 75% of the people that have bought Neo don't know anything about Neo other than it's the Ethereum of China. What does that mean by it's the Ethereum of China? It's trying to be Ethereum in China. Like that's pretty much the majority of people's knowledge goes on Neo, but that was enough to take it from a couple dollars up to $50 and to stabilize in the 30s. So Asia can really drive prices, and that's kind of one thing that I've looked at, quite frankly, it's hard for me because I'm a pretty average dude in the East Coast of the U.S. So I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's going on in Korea by any stretch. So it's interesting to hear kind of how things might be developing there. And I try to learn as much as possible about that. But overall, I'm still pretty limited in terms of my actual knowledge on what's happening in Korea, what's happening in Japan, what's happening in China. I'm limited to sources, and I try to understand it as best as possible. But also, like I said, try to, when you're coming up with trading strategies or when you're learning about this, don't just think the only market is in the United States or in Europe or in, wherever it might be. There is a huge market in Asia that, might be, quite frankly, a lot bigger than the, some of these Western countries like, like the US or, like Europe. So, Korea can really drive the price of something. And I mean, this is a $9 billion market cap. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars here moving up on a day. So that's pretty crazy to see how Ripple can move really on the back of incredible volume from Korea, from BitThumb in particular, and also from Coin One and Corbett as well. But that's an interesting thing to see. Keep that in mind when you're looking at different coins. Where's the money coming from? Where's the volume coming from? And how can you play that? How does that affect your trading decisions in the future? Outside of that, for the most part, pretty quiet day in the markets. I mean, we're looking at, for the most part, Bitcoin up a little bit, Ethereum down 5% off a decent move yesterday. Most things are between, outside of Monero having a real nice day, again, recovering from a little bit of a pullback on the spike. So if you bought that on that pullback there, you're looking good. But outside of that, pretty quiet day. Most movements either positive or negative between 1% and 10%. So, pretty quiet day in terms of cryptocurrency. Obviously, if you're looking at like in a regular stock market, a 7% movement is freaking massive. But outside of that, not too much crazy action happening. Hopefully, this conversation was helpful in terms of just understanding maybe a little bit about what's going on with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, and can help you just perform a little bit more research on your own. Again, I'm not an expert in it yet. By no means am I an expert in it, but I'm trying to learn as much as possible. And I thought it'd be interesting just to talk to you guys that I'm trying to learn about this Bitcoin versus Bitcoin Cash politics and the drama and everything that's associated with it, and who the key players are in on Bitcoin side, who the key players are on Bitcoin Cash's side, so I can develop really an understanding going into the future of what's going to be important. And maybe is Bitcoin just going to crush Bitcoin Cash, or is Bitcoin Cash going to come out of nowhere, or will they both exist simultaneously in the market like they're doing right now? Also, talking about Asia driving a market like Ripple. And then lastly, too, just, from an ICO perspective, be careful out there. There's a lot of advertising going on, whether it's on CoinMarketCap now or on Facebook. Just don't fall for crap. I don't know. Paragon maybe is going to be the best blockchain weed technology on the planet, but maybe it's just another pot coin and they're just paying Dennis Rodman to go meet with Kim Jong-un, wear it on his t-shirt, and he's good to go. So if you enjoyed this video, I would really, really appreciate a subscribe. I do daily videos, even trying to do more than one a day as much as possible, live streams, everything, trying to cover the cryptocurrency space, get myself as educated as possible to help you out, and then just bring a level of realism to these conversations. So if you are new here, would love for you to hit the subscribe. Comment below on your thoughts on Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash. That would be awesome just to hear kind of what you're thinking there. And then, yeah, I appreciate the time. I hope you have an awesome day, whether you're buying, trading, holding, selling. I wish you the best of luck. I hope your portfolio grows regardless of what you're doing. And peace.